Welcome to the Django Project, djblogger. This tutorial is part of a YouTube Django Project playlist, which you can access in the video description. You can watch the whole course from the very beginning. If you enjoyed this course and would like all the updated tutorials and associated code samples and more, you can check out this course and other courses this project features at Udemy. The link to the course is in the video description. In this project, we are going to be utilizing multiple fonts for different purposes in our application. One of them being for us to create some sort of logo and then thinking about what kind of fonts we want to use throughout our application. Now, Google Fonts is a good source of free fonts that are available for us to use on our webpage. So let's take a look in this tutorial how we can utilize Google Fonts within our application. First up then, let's go ahead and navigate to Google Fonts. Take a little look. So you'll find that this page isn't what you need. What you're looking for is Google Fonts, so fonts.google.com, not developers.google.com, although this is the top option here. So let's go to Google Fonts, fonts.google.com, and now let's select a font. Now, obviously, I've already selected a font. I know what I'm going to use. So I'm looking for Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be utilizing this font here. This is what I'm going to be utilizing for my logo. No, for no particular reason, of course. So once you've selected a font here, there'll be different options that you can select from. A simple case of just selecting which font you're going to use. I think that I'm going to be utilizing black in this case. So we're using black here, so I'm going to select the black. And now that's going to be available. So there's two ways for us to include in our project. We can use a link in the header, or we can use an @import, so in the style sheet. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use an @import in my style sheet. So I'm going to copy that. And we have already created our style sheet. So we just need to navigate to that. That's going to be in djblogger, and then in our static files, CSS main. So I'm going to add that up the top here. So you can see what I've done here is I'm making a link essentially to this font. You can see that I'm only using the 900 weight. I could use more, of course, but that's what I've decided there. And now what I need to use is this rule here to actually apply my font, say font family. So let's go back into my code. So that's the second thing that I'm going to need. So I'm just going to hang that for there now. Just hang it there for now. And now we need to think about building this so we can connect it to our logo. So let's build a new entry here, .logo. So here what we're doing is we're adding values, words to our class, and they correspond to something that represents a style here. So you can see that eventually, if we go back into our navbar, what we're going to do here is we're going to add the word logo here into this class, which is connected to our brand or logo area within this link. And we're going to connect this style. And first of all, we're going to apply our new font. So let's just take a look to see if that has worked. So if we go back here and refresh, might need to do a hard refresh. That doesn't seem to be working. So it simply is just the same problem that we had before. The fact that we needed to do a hard refresh in order for, in this case, Chrome to pick up our new settings. And you can now see that we have changed the font. So now we need to make some additional changes to make it styled as we have here in our outcome. So you can see that here in Bootstrap, it does provide a range of different font sizing tools options. So you can see we can change, or we can have FS1 to FS6. And there are other kind of larger sizes that we can utilize. You can see that we can set the font weight to bold, to normal, to light. So my goal is really to utilize as much and as many of these tools and to write as little CSS as possible. That's my aim here. So let's see if we can utilize both font weight, which is going to be, well, in actual fact, we don't need to worry about font weight because we have only selected one font weight. So let's see if we can select, for example, a font size. So back in our code, we're just going to type in FS, it finishes at 6, so let's go for 5. If we go back into our code, give it a refresh, few times, maybe do a hard refresh. So that just is the size. So maybe we just need to make it a little bit bigger. So it's just a simple case of now selecting maybe FS4. So the smaller the number, the bigger the text. And you can see that that is going to be roughly what we need. Typically 3 is always going to be a bit too large. It seems to go up quite a lot. So maybe that is a little bit too large. But let's just keep that for now. Okay, so with that in place, we don't need to worry about, like I said, bold text because we have only selected font weight 900. However, if we did select, we could, of course, as you've seen here, we could define the different sizes of font weight. Now, you'll notice that the font weights here are specified in numbers. So, for example, 800, 700, 600, 400. Not all fonts are going to have all these different sizes, so be careful with that. So you can simply just specify your font size, of course. So it's just a case of defining font weights here, and you can see that you can specify a font weight if you prefer. But like I said, I'm trying to utilize as many of the Bootstrap features as possible. Right, so next up, something that I do want to change and add here is letter spacing. Typically with larger titles, bigger titles, I changed the font spacing or the letter spacing. So let's just change that to minus 1.5 pixels. Take a look at that. Okay, so we just squeezed up the letters there a little bit more. And of course, we need to change now the name from navbar. Call it whatever you like. DJ, mine's called djblogger. So we change that. There we go. So that's starting to look a little bit like that, roughly the same size. So for the main text of this site, I'm going to be utilizing Barlow. So I'm going to select Barlow and I'm going to select some of the different options that I might want to utilize. For example, regular, medium, semi-bold, bold, and let's go for black. So these are all the options. Now notice that we still have the previous font here. Now you can go ahead and just add this all into one little link here. I like to remove that and have this separate. So I've got the separate import now, which I can utilize. So just take that back to the code in main CSS. So I've just added that in the top there, and then I'll just add this in for now, save me having to go back to it later. So let's just call this test. So we'll utilize that later. So we are going to be utilizing, or I'm going to be utilizing a different font for the actual blog text. So let's go ahead and see if we can find a font. Well, actually, I think I already know what font I'm going to use for the main blog content. So for this, I think all we're going to need here is actually see what options we've got. I think we're just going to be utilizing the regular. So let's take that in. Let's get rid of Barlow, remove all. So same as normal, let's just go ahead and add that in. Happy days, and save me coming back. Although it's fairly straightforward, just copy and paste that in, ready to work with later. So that's pretty much all the fonts we're going to be utilizing on this build.